Welcome back to Interview Ninja Step 46. Learning social skills at work. Observing people's behaviour. Going deeper beyond observing and trying to analyse others. Then we talk about the power of mantras, which is simple sentences that people run through either their conscious minds or their subconscious minds, and the importance of understanding whether the mantra is in the conscious mind and people are aware of it, or in the subconscious mind and they are not aware of it.
That's good. So I'm delighted that you're on terms and had a little bit of exposure there.
Yeah.
Because you're meeting a lot of different people.
Mainly old people.
Okay.
But, and lots of them didn't want conversation of any form.
Okay.
But the ones that did, it was interesting to see, as in, like, you could tell a lot about persons, almost what their job was, by the way that they spoke to me at the till. Because you get some people that were like shy to me, and if something wasn't scanning, they'd apologize and or say like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
The scanner doesn't work.
Yeah, but it sounds silly, but you get people that just then, like we were talking about right at the beginning, I wrote down on a piece of paper, like, maybe I want to be more confident or something like that, right? You can almost tell how they behave outside of shopping just because of the way that they behaved around things that weren't necessarily their fault, like something not scanning or like a bag ripping or something like that. And you get some people that would accuse me, and then you get some people that would accuse themselves. And I think, interesting. I don't know. I tried to take what I could, but then I'm not the most observant person at 6 a.m. in the morning. So
You said you've used the word behaviour. Now, how much these clients, if we call them that, how much did you think about their internal dialogue with themselves, their self-talk, their inner confidence and inner attitude? Did you observed behaviour? Did you then go a little deeper and sort of assess the ones that were self-humbling and the ones that were more confident and more arrogant?
what, as in how I think they behave with themselves?
I'm interested in your views of the relationship between their behaviour and what was going on inside their heads.
There is a difference between observing behaviour and trying to understand it, let alone trying to change it. Only with interpersonal dynamic soft skills can you adapt your behaviour in the most effective way to become an influencer or a manager and a good leader. Children earn most of their adaptive behaviour in primary school from age 3 to 6. They learn to adapt socially. They have a deep need to be accepted and included. Some learn tricks to get their own way if they are of a leadership type. To learn the necessary adult soft skills, not in a classroom, but the hard world of business, your subconscious is going to have to, and more importantly, want to change. You need to observe, analyse, adapt, and use.
Because what I'd like you to do is develop the skill to be able to see into the mind of people by looking at their behaviour. I wondered whether you'd done that at all.
Well, you got people that were behaved in a more arrogant manner, like the people that would say didn't have any patience for what I was doing and would say that things were my fault when things went wrong and things like that. And I would suppose the deepest that I went is you'd think your internal monologue is that you are pretty up yourself, and in their head they clearly think that they're doing a better job than everyone else at whatever they're doing, and everyone else is a fool. But whether or not that says something about their thinking, because it says that they have perceived themselves to be great, but it doesn't mean, I don't think I can't exactly see into their mind. So
Did Alexander talk to you about mantras at all?
yes, I think he did.
Okay, because a
I don't
mantra.
know if that was on our session or on a walk or something. But
Okay, all right. Well, one of the improv games that Alexander, my eldest son, who teaches interpersonal dynamics and improvisation and so on, one of the sessions he runs is where you have a mantra, an inner sentence to say to yourself.
yes, we did talk about this.
Okay. Well, when you go back to that session and look at it, well, so he gives people mantras for 5 minutes and then he has one mantra given to one person, different mantra given to another. You sometimes see this on TV, and it's basically the mantras.
Just to remind you, a mantra is a simple sentence of 10 words maximum, which runs around all the time in a person's conscious mind. What makes it different is it runs in the background and influences the other thought processes of the conscious mind. The fact that a mantra is not run in the subconscious mind makes it far easier to change. Alexander gets people to run a different mantra for a few minutes so they can see for themselves how important the way you think about yourself can change your behavior, plus how others see you. The key thing here is to understand that nearly all mantras as such run in the subconscious all the time, and that's what influences people's behavior, the way they think about themselves. But they are totally unaware that they are running those sentences, as it were, that control their behavior. Changing the subconscious mantras that people use is fundamental to things like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and also it's used a lot by sports coaches to say, you are a winner, you are a winner, and then off they go and hopefully they win. Or every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. And the intention is that the person then thinks about themselves in a different way and therefore behaves in a different way. In the Institute of Practical Learning, we understand that these things go on in the ordinary world, but our approach is to fundamentally make a person self-aware so that they change their own mantras in a dynamic and positive way in relationship to the situations they find themselves in, because we train a lot of senior managers and they're always finding themselves with new responsibilities and in new situations, and they need to have a powerful approach towards their own self-talk. If you have the persistence to go through the get the job you want 33 steps and some, if not all, of the interview ninja steps, then you will have empowered yourself to have that resilience and flexibility. You will be able to control your subconscious level mantras, and you will have less stress and more success.
Conditions of self-talk.
Yes, he made them go around and he split the group into two, and didn't he say, you have to think that you suck, and you have to think that you're like the greatest person here, and then you have to interact with each other and find something out about the other person.
Yeah, and observe the behavior. So that's artificial, but it also reflects the real world. People out there in the real world have mantras going on, many different mantras going on inside their heads. And that collection of mantras is basically their self-talk. And that drives their behavior, influences their behavior. Sometimes it drives it. They're so determined to be whatever the thing is. Sometimes it just influences. But so when you're doing a job which brings you into contact with the general public, it's interesting to try and analyze what exactly is the mantra of that person that they're using at a given time.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you understand the mantra they're using, if you want as a leader, you could think how to shift them, because you should always shift people from where they start to where you want them to go.
Yes.
That's how that's the journey you have to take people on as a leader. So you can't do that unless you already
know where they're starting.
Yes. So that's a skill to develop. Next time you have the opportunity.
I'll think about that now as to what I suppose not right now, but as in I'll start thinking about that.
Yeah.
Next time I enter one of those situations. That I feel like everybody does that to a certain degree, as in people formulate an opinion on other people about, oh, he's arrogant or he's very underconfident. And does that say something about their mantras? I suppose it says that.
That tends to be a very simplistic.
Yes.
So you might call it empathy. And
Yes.
people who are autistic don't have the mechanisms in their mind to be able to do that. So Homo sapiens the reason we live in societies is we have a need to interact with other people. That's just like hunger and the other basic drives. We do have a need to interact with people, whether it's one or family or a large group, the vector I've talked to you about,
Yes.
or the adulation of the masses or whatever it is. Each of us has social needs, but then people tend not to go beyond that. They just know they have social needs.
And they just satisfy what they.
And they just go and associate themselves in.
Yeah.
So let's say you go out to lunch. You might just go out to lunch with one or two people.
Mm-hmm.
But that's enough. You're just with those people and you're interacting. Whereas when you get really analytical, you're thinking about what they're thinking and the other people in the room and why the room is the way it is and how the atmosphere of the restaurant has been created. And that whole, GESTALT attitude.
Yes.
Yeah. Because then you can effectively become master of the room. You can what's called own the stage. And given the path you're on, that's something that it would be good for you to think about. Because once you're a performer and you are at the front rather than the back, you need to be thinking about how you're going to master the performance in a constructive, not dominated master-slave way.
No.
But
in a way that people want to be involved with.
Yeah.
Interact.
Yeah. When we call it owning the room.
Yes.
So you walk in and you can either do it instantly if you've been introduced as the star guest, or you can be clever about it and have someone introduce you as it's my great pleasure to introduce you to and they make you the owner, so the audience perceives you to be the owner, and then you go in and do your dog and pony trick or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Have you used that as a sales technique before? Yes, lots. In step 47, we're going to talk about the earn, learn, grow concept. Corbin has had a low-level job here, and what he hasn't done is really learn as much from it as he could and grow his personality. When you go to work with people, they all have their own aspirations and their own lives, and that may or may not match up with what you want. But it is almost certain that by working in an environment, especially in your early years, there is a great deal that you can learn by observing, analysing, seeking to understand, and then experimenting. That's vital. Party on. We're getting there.